know you can sing. So,
So as everybody's coming in, I just want to say hello to those who are at home watching our stream, whether you're just couldn't get up today, or it's too cold, or you might be recovering from illness, or you're just enjoying Shabbat in your pajamas, just to know that we are thinking of you and we are glad you're tuned in. As you might know from our early services, we begin with Kiddush and Motzi in the gathering area, and we have so much fun saying hello that we're sometimes a few minutes late, but if you've stuck with us, we're glad you're here and you're in our prayers and thoughts this Shabbat. You like it? Well, see, yeah, man. Yeah, we're just playing with things. Okay, so they're trying to figure out what's going on. All right.
If you say now it's time for the Torah service, I'll go to the local government program or whatever you think.
No, I don't. As much as I know, I don't want to read it without looking at it a couple times. Okay. Any mistakes I made will be on streaming forever.
I do, absolutely.
There you go.
I know there's a choir director. I'm like, I see.
Well, you know what? Michael did volunteer to invite students. He just came up.
Okay, yeah, sing out.
So that helps. That helps.
Oh, yeah, exactly, please.
You know what? I will, as part of our welcome.
It was Moses-like there for a while.
Good idea.
I had
Excellent.
so I had never grown it out.
Shabbat evening.
So the first time in as many years, almost 10 years, that I didn't get to do it. So then I saved it off again. If your God is my God and my God is everything, aren't we all part of one God? Let your God be my God and our God be everything. Oh, we all know we're all part of one God. So open up your hearts to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only. Before our one and only.
As we turn to page 128, how beautiful this Shabbat day. And one quick announcement for our visitors. We have thicker and thinner books. And all that means is one is the weekday and Shabbat book, and one is the Shabbat only book. So whichever one you pick up, there are two different sets of page numbers. So as I call the page numbers, it's either what you have on your page, or if you see a number in brackets, it's the other number in brackets. So if that makes sense. So one set of page numbers, ignore what I just said. Two set of page numbers, I'm calling out the one in brackets. Our Kabbalat Shabbat, our welcoming of Shabbats, page 128. How beautiful, how lovely this Shabbat day.
Maya Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. One more time. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Amen.
I know we have a number of guests here tonight. including some TCU students. I want you to know that we will, our services alternate between early and later. That's not necessarily a Jewish thing, just a way to make our services convenient for different people, different lives, different ages. At our later services, we read from Torah. Sometimes at our early services tonight, we are not. But if you are a visitor, be it a visitor who is getting graded on an exam, or a visitor who's just never been in a synagogue, a visitor who just wants to know about Judaism, our Dr. Michael Ross kindly just came up and whispered and said, if they want to see the Torah scroll after services, if you want to stick around here, he will be happy to. I think our docent, head of docent, Lori James, is also here, so we want her to wave. Dr. Ross is, I know you're there. You are. So feel free to stick around if you want to learn a little more about this place, if you want to see what's in the Ark, if you want to see what the Hebrew Bible, looking really like a Hebrew Bible, looks like. Pre-King James, this is what it looked like in scrolls. So feel free if you want to see that. Anybody's welcome, even if you're not in a class. So one of the things we do, I'm not going to tell you a lot about the service as we go through it, but as we have visitors, I want to point out to you that as you go through this prayer book, you will note in Hebrew and in English some notes on the far right and far left at the top. Those are the sections of the service. To a guest, the Jewish prayer service sounds like a lot of prayers. Some we skip, some we keep. How do we choose? Well, even when we don't do the entire section of the service, we take a prayer from each rubric. And those rubrics are welcoming Shabbat. Those rubrics are the Shema and the Baruch Hu, the call to prayer, which has its own section of redemption and revelation and creation. The middle section, which I will point out, in which we come to God and ask God to hear the words of our mouths, and then we take time for private prayer. So the Jewish prayer service is a series of sections, and even if we don't do all of it, we make sure we take from each section. Our first section is Kabbalat Shabbat. We began that with Mayafeh Hayom. There are a series of prayers and psalms and readings that get us ready for Shabbat. If we did all of them, we'd be singing the next 25 minutes. Some of you would like that. Some of you would not. So we do a little bit of Kabbalat Shabbat. But our Kabbalat Shabbat is welcoming Shabbat into our midst. Before we turn to Shalom Aleichem, which is a Kabbalistic prayer, which is based on a midrash that angels follow Jews home on Shabbat. It's a story. You won't find it in the Torah. That they follow people home. And in some homes they see the ideal Shabbat. Everybody's happy, they're being nice. And in others they see people rushing and going and crazy and probably a little bit like me getting ready. And as those angels follow them home, we wish for that most special of Shabbat. Shabbat is about an awareness of the successes of the week, the challenges, the ways we fell short, and a chance to just take a deep breath and ground ourselves and become aware again. So first, we're just going to take a moment to reflect on our week. Some of us went through loss. Some of us experienced moments of brokenness. Some of us experienced moments of great joy and opportunity. For some of us, the roller coaster of life meant that one of those events followed another, sometimes surprisingly, and sometimes in rapid succession. So as we prepare for Shabbat, just take a moment. I want you to think about what you are bringing into Shabbat and what you'd like to be bringing into Shabbat. Just like those angels we hope are following us home, what would we like to? What we're bringing into our Shabbat might not quite be what we want to be bringing in. And so as we think about that, I was coming here, and it's not a Jewish ritual to pack everything into the last 2 hours for Shabbat. It's just the way I organize my time. So between picking up my son and running around and doing a couple tzedakah things for the temple I promised I would do, and getting the food for tomorrow morning's Shabbat out of the box with yoga and drums and Tat Shabbat, that's the plug. As I was doing all that, I also was at the store, really not focused on Shabbat, the inner place, but Shabbat, the errands I wanted to do. And no joke, somebody I was with getting ready to check out said, I guess a Fort Worth thing, asked what I did. Maybe it was all the white fish and bagels. I don't know what caused her to ask that. And in a moment of honesty, I said, I'm a rabbi. And no joke, she said to me, well, I just checked. And only by the way, it was a Fort Worth thing. This would happen when you're trying to check out and running late. So I just did a DNA test, and I'm Jewish. Now, I sort of thought, how do you know that? Because we're a religion. But it turned out Ashkenazic Jewish, and she really wanted to know about Judaism. We spent about a moment together, and then I told her where she could find me, Beth-El, all that. But that was a great moment, because as the sun was setting and I was running late, that was a moment of, what are you bringing into Shabbat? And is it what you wanted to bring in? Said the rabbi who runs around everywhere, and then says, everybody take a deep breath. So I want to give you a minute, certainly to wish those around you Shabbat Shalom, certainly to introduce some of your guests to those around you. We're not going to make them say hello to everybody yet, maybe not at all. And I want you to also think about, if it's someone you know, tell them, what are you bringing into Shabbat, or what do you hope to be bringing into Shabbat this week?
Good, we made it to Shabbat. We made it.
She wanted to know a lot. Actually, where was it? It was actually helping somebody with assistance at a storage place. But I didn't want to say that some of the guest food, so I made a central market. But really, I was in the storage place, and even before I got it, I was doing one last thing. So when she really knew, she saw the rabbi's discretion, and then he started getting, when it reminded me of somebody's got to go. But that really happened, and Yes.
Yeah, but if you want to join us anytime, just come on. Even if you don't read music, that's okay. I mean, as long as you can read words. And I'll get your email address. I'll get your email address after, and I'll send you this up.
So what are we going to bring into Shabbat?
Tambourine. I could have really used that tonight too. Really? Do you like a djembe too? Do you play like djembe or anything like that too?
Peace be to you. Look at it. O ministering angels, messengers of the Most High, Majesty of majesties, we bring you with us into Shabbat, page 142.
Page 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Alahim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bochel Shalom Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon. Melech Malachi Alachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu L'Shalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon. Melech Malachi Alachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon. Melech Malachi Alachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Page 144 and 145. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on the ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair, together. Teach my lips a blessing,
a hymn of praise,
as each morning and night you renew your days.
Lest my day be today as the one before,
Lest routine set my ways.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemeirah, v'alma yivrach Yerushalayim, v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechonu yomechon, u'tahedechel bet Yisrael, bagala, bagala, u'vizman karif, v'yimaru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach, Le'olam L'olmei Olmaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitroman, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitallah, Shemei Dekudisha Brichu, Le'al min kol bichata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'alma, v'yimaru. Amen.
Page 146, we rise for the Baruch Hu, the call to prayer together, and we remain standing through Shema.
Baruch Hu et Adonai, HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai, HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
Page 148, together in English. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name, ever-living God. May you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamarim Aravim. Page 150.
Ahavat olam,
Beit
Yisrael, Amcha Mishpatim, otanu limadta, al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu, u'chuvmeinu na'asiach b'chukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומן ולילה, נגי יומן ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Please be seated as we turn to page 155. We read these words of the V'ahavta from the Torah together in English. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you this day. Teach them faithfully. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Do not leave them in the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. We turn to page 646. We will be flipping back.
We will.
But as part of our rejoicing with these words that come from the Torah, these words that the Jews sang, not these actual words. In a moment, we'll sing the words from the Torah. As we segue into them, we look to this modern version from Debbie Friedman as we sing this Song of Freedom, 646.
And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every strand and every thread she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, and she dances toward the light. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to one the one exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar bar chodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh. Malchutecha ra'u v'anecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zelianu ve'amru, zelianu ve'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed.
Page 160. Together. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our sovereign, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. And on page 162, Joy of Shabbat.
Veshamru l'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam beini uvein bnei Yisrael oti leolam leolam ati shet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz uvayom hashivir Shabbat vayinafash.
Page 164. We come to that central section of our service which speaks of our connection to our ancestors, which speaks of our own prayers for might, for God's strength to lift us up at our moments of fallenness. And then we come to prayers that speak of the joy of Shabbat. We will join together in the next 4 pages, and then we continue on our own. And you can continue. We'll begin standing, but you can continue seated after that. You can read the prayers in Hebrew or in English, or you can simply take the time to just be present in this space through page 180. We begin on 164. We rise for tefillah. We begin together. We continue on our own.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu Ivotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Ha'nor V'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imamot, Libei Kula, Libei Bneihem, Le'an Shemo Yahweh, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol Ad Rav Hashiach, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayei Hakol Berachamim Rabbi, Tzomech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umechayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Be'al Gedurot, Umino Melach, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atah L'Hachayot Hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh ha'akol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, v'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh.
Through page 180, however you wish.
If your heart is my heart, and my heart is everything, aren't we all part of one heart? Let your heart be my heart, and our heart be everything. Oh, we'll all know we're all part of one heart. So open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only. Before our one and only.
We pause to think of all those who are ill, broken, in need of healing on this Shabbat. The names, as we recite them, help us to think of others who may also be in need of healing, battling illness. For some, recovery is simpler. Others struggle with long-term illness. Some will not recover. We pray for all that you will bring them wisdom and insight to them, to their caregivers, patience to their family members, to all who watch over them, and to all who bring them comfort so that they do not feel alone. On this Shabbat, we mention the names of Annette Dover, Charlotte Fiwas, Stacy Lewis, Alan Lusky, Jeffrey Mark, Pauline Wittenberg, William Westerman, Maria Schoen, Gordon Brody, Graham Baker, Elliot Blumberg, Holly Clegg, Cynthia Labovitz, Katrina Joy Rogers, Joel Green, Corbin Rubinson, Marjorie Deutsch, Todd Rice, Roseanne Margolis, Eddie Sankery, Debbie Friedman, Vera Madison, Claire Brunhild, Jeannie Ostrich, Carol Minker, and any other names you might wish to add as I look through the synagogue to you to our healing prayer. page 371, in the middle of the page. What I mean, no, rethink that. No, that's not the page I'm in. Sorry. 511. What was I thinking? Page 511. Thank you, Jim. Sorry. In the moment. As we pray for healing, O source of healing, Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim, O God of healing, bring healing to all in need.
Mekor habracha laimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu, mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
As we look to the future, our Jewish services move forward with the prayer of Aleinu and then the Kaddish. By remembering, we also pray for a more complete, wholer future. Page 586. We rise before the open ark. Please be seated. Turn to page 594. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. We read together. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love, what death has touched. We take time to mention those who have passed away. It is our custom to rise if we hear the name of a loved one that we are remembering, and then the congregation will join together for Kaddish as one. On this Shabbat, we note this period of Shloshim, the 30-day period of mourning for Edward Deems, Helene Sonia Nelson Dolinger, and Harvey Leffer. If anyone else here is mourning one they've lost in the past 30 days and is our guest, you can mention their name. We mention the yartzites, the anniversaries of their deaths. Virginia Abrams, Nelson Alter, Claire Benno, Stena Bloomberg, Dr. Howard A. Britton, Samuel Bostek, Marie Mizell Cedars, Stuart Joseph Dorenberg, Bertie Gordon Friedman, Gertrude Gernsbacher, Ida Gilden Glazer, Ira Gordon, David Greenberg, Rosalind Gentler Gross, Gradian A. Gurney, Dorothy Imber, Kathleen S. Jacobson, Roy John, Fred Kemp, Milton Krochmal, Addie Levy, Celine Lehman Levy, Joseph Levy, Moses Loeb, Mace Lustman, Elsie Mayer, Jenna Montrell, Louise Ann Rosenblum Morowitz, Louis Pozes, Diane Pratt, Leo Roth, Arnold Rubin, Joseph Sado, Harold Schiff, Francis Suter, Rose Rubinson Sussfeld, Dorothy Marie Taub, Solomon Taylor, Janet Marks Tedder, Victor Tewell, Max Weiner, Sadie Schiff Weil, Saul Platt, Morton Wasserman, Shirley Wasserman, Harold Klotz. With them and for all who are remembered, we rise to offer support. Page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shumei rabbah, bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye chon v'yomei chon, v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agalal v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mivarach le'olam u'lamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitala shmei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'miram bi'almal v'imru. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru. Oh, say shalom d'mrama u'yaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of strength and peace and wholeness in the face of brokenness bring these to all who remember, all who are in mourning and in pain. Together we say,
Amen.
Please be seated. Just a reminder that Harvey's family, his wife Barbara, and children are observing Kaddish Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at the address in our directory for Barbara Leffer, or in the e-blast you got. If you knew Harvey or Barbara, or even if you want to provide some support during this time, visitors are certainly welcome. They will be saying Kaddish at 7 each of those nights. And a friendly reminder that Purim is coming. And I prepared our president, because he knows it's coming, but for those of you who went, the rabbi forgot to say something. No, it's Purim, and it's almost April Fool's Day, 31 days early. So no, I'm not going to give a big sermon tonight, but I like to share a story or a thought. And so when I was thinking of what Purim song we would bring back, because songs have a power. So if I started singing Dayenu, you'd be running to look for the matzah box. I'm not yet, you still have 6 weeks. But songs have a way of doing that. If we started singing Kol Nidrei, you'd truly be worried about both of us. The tunes have a power that is sometimes even greater than the words. So we were going to sing, oh, once there was, oh, wicked, wicked man. And I decided to go looking a little like I should, I could share a few jokes. But this is another announcement. March 15th is open mic night. I'm not yet sure what that means, but it will be fun. So I thought, well, no, let's talk a little about the song. So I started checking out the derivation of the song. I really did. And much to my surprise, you're never too old to learn, and it won't surprise you that, oh, once there was a wicked, wicked man, and Haman was his name. Oh, sounds a lot like there was a farmer had a dog. Bingo was his name. Oh, B-I-N-G-O, 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 and Bingo was his name. Oh, but no one can really trace Bingo back farther than 1780. Well, that's pretty long ago. And it's traced to the Haymarket Theatre of London. Now, who knows if that's true, but that's where they give it credit. But then it turns out that Bingo sounds a lot like a song that goes back as far as the 16th century, a Victorian song about drinking. Now, it turns out it was a Christmas song. I don't know what that, to me it sounds like a St. Patrick's Day song, but I was told it was a Christmas song. And when I first looked at the words, I thought, well, if you were the landlord in Europe, Christmas was when your people had one day off, and the Lord would bring you food, and you would have a party. That's what I thought it was. Turns out that's not what they meant at all. So it turns out that also a landlord means a pub owner. I didn't know that. In England, some people are nodding, but they weren't sure where I was going. A landlord is a pub owner, okay? So I'm going to give you 1 minute of history. Some of you know this, and then you're going to figure out where we're going with this. When the Romans started connecting roads everywhere, right? People traveled more. Some of them went on sacred pilgrimages. Some of them need places to stay. Some of them stayed in monasteries. But in time, they stayed in people's houses. The owner of the land, the landowner, the landlord, they would eat, they would drink a little, they'd have a place, they'd probably collect a little bit of money. And King Richard II of England in 1393 decided this was a great mode of taxation. So now you were allowed to have a place where people could eat, drink, and sleep over, but you had to put a sign out. You had to be legitimate. And if you were legitimate, of course, now you're a business. So those are the beginning of our pubs and our landlords. And this song, which may be older, is traced back to Victorian. I could not find out who wrote it. And I'm going to show you this song. It goes like this. Come, landlord, fill the flowing bowl until it doth run over. Come, landlord, fill the flowing bowl until it doth run over. For tonight we'll merry, merry be. For tonight we'll merry, merry be. For tonight we'll merry, merry be. Tomorrow we'll be sober. We'll do one more verse. A little strange. We'll skip the last one. I don't offend anybody. Here's to the man who drinks weak ale and goes to bed quite sober. Here's to the man who drinks weak ale and goes to bed quite sober. Fades as the leaves do fade. Fades as the leaves do fade. Fades as the leaves do fade. And drops off in October. If you want to look up Come Landlord, Fill the Flowing Bowl, there are a ton of versions on the internet. Some of them are 16, 18 verses. So this was like no joke, which I guess, if 100 bottles of beer on the wall, I guess if you're drinking, why not? So I was surprised to see, I'll cut to the chase, I was surprised to see that this was originally a Christmas drinking song. I assumed it was a this season drinking song because we are on the edge of Mardi Gras. Okay, and we are on the age of St. Patrick's Day. You may not know this. I give you a little bit of trivia, right? But Mardi Gras kicks off Lent. Now, for those who are visiting, just want to clarify, we don't observe Lent. Although if I want to shake things up, no, it's a joke. We don't observe that. If you're Christian, you observe it. But I want you to see parallels in culture, right? One big party before you have to stop. Turns out St. Patrick's Day in its earliest versions was a day to stop and celebrate St. Patrick, okay, in the period of preparation and mourning for, not mourning, but another form of Lent, getting ready for Easter, another version of Mardi Gras in another community with another role. So because you were celebrating St. Patrick, you could have a great time, stop, and whatever you were refraining from, this was your chance to celebrate. All right? Interestingly, I don't want to get too far off, but I have to throw this out. Interestingly, it sounds a lot like the period from Passover to Shavuot. We're not going to get caught up in that. There is a period where some Jews refrain from marriages and other things. Some Jews don't cut their hair or their beards. It is simultaneously sort of a time of rejoicing and a time of mourning. I'm not going to begin to get into that here, but there are days in the middle, like Lag BaOmer, the 33rd of the Omer, where if you were doing those things, you could stop and say, a lot of great things happened today, so if I've either needed a haircut or a good drink, here was Lag BaOmer, okay? Or a wedding. So a lot of Jews who observe that, that's like the prime wedding day. I thought of Purim. Now, I have to tell you, Purim goes back thousands of years. So I cannot find a connection between Purim and a Persian story and Jews who might have been hanging out with Irish 2,000 years ago. So maybe they all find themselves from some earlier pagan spring ritual that I haven't been able to prove yet. But these seasonal commonalities are so interesting as spring comes. Now, for those who are visiting and don't know what I'm talking about, Purim is our day where things are turned on their head. There is a saying, it's Adar, the month of Adar, be happy. And people are supposed to just take a deep breath and say, whatever life throws you, be happy. Right? We know Jewish history is filled with many, many challenging and horrible moments. Purim is a story where we laugh at them. It is the only holiday where we laugh at them. We read a story of imminent Jewish destruction. And 2,000 years ago, one of the rabbis says, the prime commandment of Purim, other than hearing the story of Esther and Mordecai and Haman, is to drink so much that you can't tell the difference between the villain and the hero. Now, I'm not actually recommending that in any way. I have counsel right here. You can't sue the temple. I'm not telling you to do that if you crash. But it's this incredible, wild, fun holiday. And it's there at this time of year when all these similar things are going on. So now we have this song. The first reference to this song in print is in 1940. But we know that oral traditions go back farther. And about 30 years ago, a Jewish magazine said, we know who wrote it. It was this Jewish educator, Ben Aronin. And then someone called the family, and they said, no, the article was completely wrong. He was a great, famous Jewish educator. I don't know where the song came from. It was Chicago. He didn't write it. So let's pause for a minute and think about this interesting connection, right? So Jews in the 20s and 30s and 40s in Chicago, but in a lot of other cities as well, Jewish immigrants would have been living next to a lot of Irish immigrants, English immigrants, all kinds of other people. So it's not a shocker. By the way, it doesn't make the song any less fun, right? That here would be this tune that traces back hundreds and hundreds of years. All right? And what does it do? It tells the story. So you get the whole Purim story in a fun little da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and bingo, the kids know the story of Purim. So I wanted to share a little bit of history. I try to make it a little more fun and light during the month of Adar. For those of you who saw your temple newsletter, there's a Mad Lib in there. If you come up with a really funny one, we'll read it at services that night. I don't know, okay? And also, on Purim, we'll be celebrating Purim here. So if you have a little time on your hand, on Thursday afternoon, March 20th, we'll be telling the story. We'll be telling a few jokes. Since kids are supposed to be in school, we'll have a little food and fun. So just wanted to put an announcement for that, which is a really long-winded way of saying that our closing song is on the back side of your service sheets. There it is. See, I squeezed a little sermon in there. So during this fun time, just know it's okay to celebrate St. Patrick's Day with your friends. It's okay to do a little Mardi Gras. I'm not going to tell you what the baby and the cake is. It's not Jewish, but you can have it with your friends. Okay, I'm ruining the cakes for some of you, but yeah. But okay, it's a baby. It's a nice little baby. I was Jewish when it was a baby, actually, so that's okay. It was Jewish baby. All right. But don't forget to also come celebrate Purim on March 20th. Okay, so here we go. Backside, ready? Now you know the tune, even if you've never heard it. And if you're visiting us and you are British Christians, you really know the tune. Okay, so here we go.
Oh, once there was a wicked, wicked man, and Haman was his name, sir. He would have murdered all the Jews, though they were not to blame, sir. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be.
Oh, today we'll merry be and nash some mintashin. And Esther was a lovely king of Ahasuerus. When said he'd kill us, oh my, how they did scare us. Oh, today we'll merry be. Oh, today we'll merry be. Oh, today we'll merry be and nash some lamentation. Mordecai, her cousin, said, what a dreadful chutzpah. If guns were but invented, now this Haman I would shoot, sir. Oh, today we'll merry be. Oh, today we'll merry be. Oh, today we'll merry be and nash some lamentation. The guest of honor he shall be, this clever Mr. Sardi. On high above us he shall sweep at a little hanging party. Oh, today we'll merry be. Oh, today we'll merry be. Oh, today we'll merry be and nash some lamentation. Of all his cruel and unkind ways, this little joke did cure him. And don't forget we owe him thanks for the jolly feast of Purim. Oh, today we'll merry be. Oh, today we'll merry be. Oh, today we'll merry be and eat some almond tashin. Thank you. Happy Adar. Shabbat Shalom. Have a wonderful Adar.
Stand in the back. Open mic night.
Is that it?